On today's show, we're breaking down the national reaction to the Denver Broncos' 2025 draft class. Some insiders have praised the picks, others, not so much. We'll dig into those takes and give you the full picture. Plus, there's an update on John Franklin Myers, who racked up 7 sacks last season and is now eyeing a new contract. Let's start with the Broncos' draft. The reactions have been all over the map. While a few analysts are optimistic about Denver's moves, there's no clear consensus. Some praise the bold choices, others question the strategy. One notable comment came from Sports Illustrated. Matt wrote, "Many expected the Broncos to upgrade their offense in the first round, but Denver focused on strengthening its defense by selecting Barron, a slot corner who will form a tremendous trio with Pat Surtain and Riley Moss. That analysis hits the mark. Moss is locked in as an outside corner, and drafting Barron doesn't change that. Barron's size likely keeps him inside at nickel, which honestly didn't seem like a glaring need thanks to Jaquan McMillan's solid play the past 2 seasons. But if Denver believed Barron was simply too good to pass up, it's hard to argue. Best player available is a proven strategy, even if the fit isn't obvious at first. Sure, it might feel crowded at nickel early on, but if Barron develops into a Pro Bowl talent, nobody's going to complain down the line. McMillan is a playmaker and has a bright future, but adding Barron could make Denver's secondary one of the league's toughest units. Imagine Surtain, Moss, Barron, plus safeties like P.J. Locke and Caden Stearns locking down the back end. Opposing quarterbacks are going to have a rough time. The Broncos could be building something close to a new no-fly zone. Get ready to hear plenty of incomplete at Mile High when this group takes the field. Let's talk more about the Broncos' Day 2 picks, specifically R.J. Harvey and Bryant. Denver found its offensive weapons on Day 2, and Harvey is expected to take over as the lead running back, while Bryant will join second-year receivers Devon Vale and Troy Franklin alongside Cortland Sutton. Focusing on Harvey for a moment, this was a critical pick. Running back was a bigger need than wide receiver heading into the draft, and Denver addressed it smartly here. That said, I'm a believer in rookies earning their spot. When rookie minicamp and training camp roll around, expect the veterans to sit at the top of the depth chart, at least at first. Sure, things can change fast, but rookies shouldn't automatically jump the line. Last year, even first-round pick Bo Nix started camp behind Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson, so it's reasonable to expect Harvey to start as RB2. But by September, he could very well be RB1. Harvey isn't your typical bruising back. He's just under 6 feet tall and around 200 pounds. But he runs hard and brings a physical edge. He's also got solid receiving upside. Some have compared him to Alvin Kamara from Sean Payton's Saints days, but Kamara was a far more polished receiver coming out of Tennessee than Harvey was at UCF. Still, Harvey looks like a great fit for a committee backfield. Ideally, Jaleel McLaughlin stays on as a change of pace option. Harvey handles the early downs, and Audric Esteem can pound it in at the goal line. Bryant will likely be battling for a roster spot, but one thing's clear. This running back room needed serious help. Denver didn't address it much in free agency, so the draft was their shot. Personally, I hoped they'd target a back earlier. I'll admit to being a little critical here. Letting 4 or 5 running backs go before pick 60 felt risky. Sure, guys like Tre'Veyon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, and Omarion Hampton might have been a reach at pick 20, but the need was real, and waiting carried risks. Denver took a calculated gamble with Harvey. If he becomes the reliable lead back they envision, it'll be a win. But there's reason to be cautious. As Rob Rang from Fox Sports put it, like Barron, running back R.J. Harvey brings a resume few can match, though he was drafted a bit earlier than many expected. We'll see how it plays out, but the pressure's on for these picks to deliver. Let's wrap up the draft talk with a look at Pat Bryant and Savion Jones. Bryant, the wide receiver from Illinois, and Jones, the edge rusher from LSU, both bring instincts and physicality that fit perfectly in Sean Payton's system. Jones, in particular, looks like a player whose best football is still ahead of him. A classic developmental pick with serious upside. If you're curious how the experts graded Denver's draft, the consensus shakes out to about a B-. Now, draft grades can be fun, but let's be real, they're rarely accurate. Remember when the Seahawks got slammed with an F in 2012? That class ended up producing Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner. Draft grades are really just snapshots based on projections, not actual results. Honestly, we should probably wait 3 years to hand out true grades, but fans want instant reactions, so here we are. For a B minus, that's a fair reflection of Denver's strategy. This was a Sean Payton draft through and through. Best player available in the first round, followed by players that fit his mold in Harvey, Bryant, and Jones on day 2. The real success of this draft won't hinge on the first round pick alone. It's those day 2 selections that will tell the story. If 2 out of those 3 guys hit, and especially if all 3 do, this class could end up looking much stronger than a B minus down the road. The key measure of success, not just Pro Bowls or splashy rookie seasons, but whether these players become long-term starters and earn second contracts. That's what builds the foundation. So while some fans might want every draft class to get an A, it's important to stay realistic. There's plenty of promise here, but it's all about development and fit over the next few years. Let's shift gears and talk about John Franklin Myers. After being traded from the Jets to the Broncos last season, he flew a bit under the radar. With players like Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper drawing most of the spotlight, Franklin Myers quietly had a productive year, racking up 7 sacks and 8 tackles for loss. Now he's looking to cash in on that performance. Recently, he pinned a tweet from 2021, the one he posted after signing his last extension with the Jets. On the surface, that might not seem like much, but in today's NFL, players often use social media to send subtle or not so subtle messages. It's not unusual for a pinned tweet like that to stir up speculation, and in this case, it's a clear reminder that Franklin Myers is thinking about his next contract. He knows time is ticking to secure a bigger deal, and he's making sure the Broncos' front office gets the message. While he's expected to skip some voluntary practices, don't be surprised if that's part of applying a bit of pressure. All eyes will be on mandatory minicamp in June, where he's likely to show up, but the underlying message is clear. Franklin Myers wants to be paid like a top-tier pass rusher. Despite any contract noise, he's stayed locked in on improving his craft. He's been working regularly with pass rush specialist Coach Jordan, who has dropped by Broncos practices in the past to help sharpen the team's edge rushers. It's clear Franklin Myers is committed to staying at the top of his game. Now it's up to Denver to decide how much that's worth. John Franklin Myers could be in line for a contract extension, and it's something to keep an eye on heading into 2025. Reports suggest he's expected to attend mandatory minicamp, which is a positive sign that the situation may not escalate into something bigger. It's possible Franklin Myers is aiming for a deal in the ballpark of $20 million per year. That would be a significant increase compared to what similar players have received recently. For context, Zach Allen signed a contract worth around $15 million annually a couple of off seasons ago, while DJ Jones just signed a new deal at $13 million per year. So if Franklin Myers is looking at $20 million, that would place him just below the top-tier edge rushers. Depending on how the Broncos evaluate his role, they might consider him more of an edge rusher in their 3-4 scheme. If that's the case, his market value could increase. Compared to someone like Leonard Williams, who's making around $21.5 million per year, Franklin Myers might not be far behind in impact. Still, a more realistic extension might land in the $15 to $17 million range annually. That would allow Denver to lock him in during his prime without overcommitting financially. The team could also choose to wait it out and reassess after the 2025 season, especially if other roster priorities like signing younger players or budgeting for their rookie quarterback take precedence. One possible alternative: the Broncos recently drafted Savell Smalls out of LSU, who plays a similar position. If the front office believes he can deliver at even half of Franklin Myers' level for a fraction of the cost, they may decide to go with the younger, more affordable option. Let us know what you think. Would you be comfortable giving Franklin Myers a $20 million contract? Or would you prefer to let the season play out and revisit the discussion next offseason?